I'm gonna
take a trip to the Super Bowl. Hopefully,
I'm gonna sit here and root on for you guys.
You should.
The Eagles are kind of my nemesis.
Right.
You guys aren't really a rivalry to me. So
well, yeah, it's not a rivalry when you're
that much better than that team.
You not even made
most
the playoffs,
of the time,
right? And you're just terrible.
And
your quarterback can't even stay healthy, can't even throw touchdown passes. You get eliminated first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, well,
so
episode 3.
Just so everybody knows, and just so you can understand and you can see and smell what winning looks like. I know, obviously, as Cowboys fans aren't really familiar with winning. Virginia isn't really familiar with winning.
I mean, if you count the first,
obviously,
9 months out of the year,
you guys didn't beat Maryland. In terms of October, it was October, which is
that's why I said the first 9 months. Of
October, Virginia versus Maryland. How did that turn out?
October was an interesting situation.
So what you're saying is that you kind of relate to the Cowboys on a more personal level.
I wouldn't say I relate to them on a more personal level. I'd say I tend to win most of my first round matchups, unlike Jacob Lippy in March Madness 2 years ago.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the third episode and the first episode of 2025 for the Prezi Podcast. I'm Lucas Crawford, your host and your VP of Communications. Today, we are joined by the Assistant Director of Virginia, Conor Coil. Conor, welcome, man. Do you even fit in the frame?
I don't know. I'm hoping the camera's got me in it. I'm a little bit of a taller guy myself.
What are you, 6'5", 6'9"?
No, definitely
Chewbacca,
definitely not 6'9".
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, definitely.
Where would you measure up on the scale of that?
On the scale of Shane to Bigfoot, I would say probably closer to Bigfoot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how are you feeling, man?
I feel great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Good. I'm excited to have you here too as well. Cool, man. So obviously, we're kicking off 2025. We just got back from Mexico.
Yeah.
Which I know I think you were a little ill coming back from Mexico.
Oh, yeah. No, Mexico got me good. Mexico got me good.
Mexico wins every year.
Oh, yeah. No, Mexico did. I mean, great time.
Yeah.
Great time I had in Mexico, and then came back to COVID, which was not fun.
Well, let's talk about that Mexico time frame. Obviously, you said you had a great time. This was your third trip to Mexico?
Second.
Your second?
So
second. Last year was your first year.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're really... And then, so you had Royal Splash, and now you had Hard Rock.
Yeah.
So we've been to Hard Rock now 3 times, and this is your first experience at Hard Rock.
Yeah.
How would you rate Hard Rock and the experience at Mexico this year compared to the prior year?
I would say this year, I would say probably the resort was nicer this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was just more to do. Obviously, that having an adults only section was,
peaceful.
It was huge for those of us that don't want to be around screaming children.
Yeah, this time you had a good time.
Oh, great time.
Yeah.
Best time.
Okay, did you go on any excursions? Did you guys just kind of hang out at the resort the entire time?
Pretty much stayed at the resort this time. I did a lot of the excursions the year prior, which was awesome. I did go to Ilios with a bunch of the people, with a bunch of people.
Was that the place you smash plates?
Yes, the Greek spot. You smash plates, you get on the tables, you start dancing.
Hopefully you didn't get on any tables. I think there's a weight limit.
I thought so as well, and then I saw James Reinhardt do it, and I was like, I'm good.
Oh, James got on top of a table?
James was on it.
Wow, those tables were built to last like Duralast.
Oh, I was expecting, once I saw James got on it, the Hulk could get on it. So I was like, I'll be all right.
That's a nice deal. Okay, cool. So obviously, I heard Santa apparently made an appearance in the award ceremony this year.
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch him, but obviously the ceremony was a really great time for everybody. How would you compare the ceremony itself, compared to the prior year's ceremony?
I mean, I think the ceremony, honestly, my favorite part of Mexico is the ceremony. The ceremony is what I look forward to each and every year. And Mexico 2 years ago, obviously the ceremony was a little bit longer than it was this past year. And I had a little bit more of a role this past year. So it kind of felt a little bit like work.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. It felt a little bit like work. But I loved it.
Yeah.
I love being up there. Good to be a little energizer in the beginning and get people going.
was. It is a little bit of work at the beginning, and then afterwards it's all play.
Yeah, it was more nerves at the beginning, being like, we didn't prep for this. Let's figure it out. You know,
I could hear it on stage. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby. I mean? Gosh, that was good. So, obviously, award ceremony aside, you talk about, the fun you had, being able to hang out with your peers and stuff like that. Like, all the things, it just, be able to put all that work in and end it with a bang in Mexico, especially for years, is, honestly, I think the most that I would ever want to ask for from a company, right? I think that, like, to have that kind of fun. What would you say, I guess, is the most memorable point or piece that you had or time in Mexico this year?
Truthfully, the best thing about Mexico is networking with everyone around you. Creating relationships with people that you don't speak to on a daily basis, people that are in positions in which you want to get to.
Yeah.
Learning how they got there, doing all the things in which they did. This past year, I was talking to a lot of guys that are in operations, a field in which I have little knowledge in. I had worked at a different construction company previously doing sales, and I didn't necessarily have all of the product knowledge in which the operations guys that we have here have, and being able to workshop up with them and see what they do on a daily basis that I had no idea that they were doing all that. That is awesome. Granted, I feel like I know everybody at this point.
That's for sure.
But I mean, there's guys that Rudy Mejia, who was a Virginia marketer who just recently went into operations, and seeing his adjustment, seeing how he's climbed through operations, and I was doing as well as he is in operations, seeing his growth. And then, I mean, somebody that I've known for almost the duration of me being here, but Jordan Charlo. I mean, this guy brings the energy every single place he is. Brother Charlo.
He gives the best hugs, man.
The best hugs.
Dude, always a smile on that guy's face.
You will never catch him without a smile.
No.
And that positivity is, the reason why he's as good of a mentor to the Measure Techs and everything else like that. And learning what he does on a day-to-day basis is crazy. And it just gives you a certain level of respect for, everybody that's in a position in which you're on.
That's why they call him the king of measures.
Yeah, the king of measures.
Yeah. Down to the eighth of an inch, baby.
Yep.
All day. So, you had mentioned that, obviously, in your experience in the end of the year, you had met with a couple ops people that, kind of relating to your past experience of where you worked prior, you didn't quite get a lot of that experience. Why don't you go ahead and tell us, about your journey, where you came from prior, and how you got to Prezi, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I've kind of been wrapped in this field my entire life. My mom's ex-husband, who was my stepfather from the age of like 4 or 5. He was VP of sales over at HomeFix. So, I mean, I was kind of wrapped into this forever. I remember being a young kid and being a marketer and shadowing him on appointments, and from there was kind of where I grew my love for it. And I always had that like communication, persuasion skills that I knew from a young age. I always got what
You're persuasive?
Don't tell anybody, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
haven't quite noticed yet, but all right.
Haven't? I feel like I tend to get you out the house a little bit,
You're right, you do.
Lucas,
maybe a little
let's
bit.
play Call of Duty. You know what Teresa's gonna say. You see the hands start moving, the persuasion's coming.
It's coming,
right? So I had a gut feeling from a young age that sales was what I wanted to do. Transitioned from there. I started knocking doors at 14. Did that for a little bit. Grew into a sales position. Did that for a little bit. Realized that was exactly what I wanted to do. Then did decide to go to college. Went to a small school in Indiana because I wanted to be able to continue a basketball and lacrosse career. And ended up going to school, blew out my knee. Typical story. Yep. Absolutely. And then I was like, I'm not going to continue to pay for school if I'm not going to be able to play sports. So came back home. I would have gone back to a different company. But there were some other circumstances going on with said company. And I wanted a fresh start. And one of my buddies, Aiden Redmond, who was in marketing at the time. Absolutely. He's one of our sales reps now. He was working here. And I decided to give it a shot. Came in, interviewed with Mike, and fell in love ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would you say between you and Aiden, are you the more talented individual?
I wouldn't go ahead and say that. I wouldn't take away from his talents. He's got his own talents. I think I got my own talents.
Do you think on the line of basketball, maybe?
Oh, I'll absolutely say I'm a better basketball player.
Cool. So obviously, now that you're here, you've been here for a bit, right? And marketing was the kind of the platform that's kind of propelled you to where you are now. You know, what do you think? Obviously, with marketing being where you started, and what you've been doing for the last couple, 2 years with us, right?
Yeah.
What do you think kind of keeps you in the mindset to allow yourself to keep pushing forward every day in that department?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to mindset, you really just kind of have to have in marketing that lion mentality, that Mamba mentality of just
say mama or mamba?
Mamba,
like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
Mamba.
like Kobe Bryant.
Nice.
Like,
Okay.
Look, at the end of the day, as long as I know I'm going to get 1% better each and every day, I'm going to succeed. Something James Reinhart told me all the time when I was in marketing was like, dude, one demo a day is $127,000 a year, right? You make one friend a day. And, keeping that in your mind always, knowing that there's $300 behind each and every door, that should carry the way. If you're not money driven, knowing that there's a promotion right next door. If you're competition driven, right, we've got March Madness. We created Ice Madness this past December. We've got many different competitions throughout the year. Marketer of the month each month, compete for that, right? There's plenty of things, to keep everyone motivated on a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot of resources around you, especially in marketing, where, over here in Virginia, we have, Shane, myself, and now we have Adam. And honestly, a bunch of great mentors that we have here that, really do take a big part of our training aspect and make it their own, making sure that every single person has a taste of every single person's success and really combine all of that together, really trying to create the best marketing, best marketer possible. And over in Maryland, I know they have the exact same thing. Dell, Danny, Priya, now Douglas. They've got a great chain of command, and I'm sure they've got the exact same operation going on over there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of growth for the last 9 years.
Yeah.
You talk about where we've come from, where we are now, right? As I think we said in previous, episodes that you guys can look back into, episode 1, doing $2.2 million, and now after 2024, we finally eclipsed that $41 million mark as a company, right? So obviously with 2025 here, what do you think the expectation is, for the rest of this year moving forward for the Virginia department?
The goal is, if you look over on that resolution board, and the same thing which I'm going to push all year is I want 25 million in the Virginia marketing department this year. Like, I want to make sure that we're producing that and doing what it takes to be able to get there. What it's going to continue to take is, at a minimum, a 2.0 set average on a daily basis. And as we're bringing in more people, that's only going to get harder to do. And where do you look, to be able to make sure that you're still going to gain success from that point? Where you're going to look is you're going to look into training, right? Make sure that you're defining training and making sure that training is at a point where each and every person is going to be able to set at a minimum 2 appointments a day. Yeah. And the best way to do that is not by, throwing 2 people together and being like, you've got to figure out how to train these guys for the entirety of the year. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to need a team. And we've really created a great team here over on the Virginia side. I'm not saying that Maryland hasn't. But we've got such a great set plan of training that, I feel very confident going into this year about some of the goals in which we have placed.
Anybody, any particular, marketers or team members that really stand out to you this year that, you're kind of excited to see grow or hopefully, accomplish great things?
Yeah, absolutely. Even from the top down, Adam Stozer becoming a senior marketing mentor, obviously there in Mexico. We announced it over the award ceremony. Watching the way in which he stepped up so far this year. He gets in for me some days, right? Gets in here early, has a one-on-one training before he runs big room training. He's consistently, doing all the things in which he does, or all the things in which he needs to do to be an overall great leader. And it's clearly trickling down as we have marketers that I'm very excited to see what they do as soon as they get into management. Maggie O'Connor has been absolutely lighting it up. She's going to win Marketer of the Month this month rather. She's running away with it. I can't.
Was she the girl that got to meet Steve Aoki in the airport?
She is the one that got to meet Steve Aoki in the airport. I know.
So jealous.
Pretty jealous about that as well.
I got kicked by Aoki once.
You did?
Yeah. That was at early days. 35 guys now. I can't do raves anymore, but back in the day. Yeah. Yeah, I got caked. It was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I'm 35 at this point.
You look like you're 40.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Look, every training class.
You don't look a day over 25.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll take it.
I don't know. How old are you now? You're 26? 25? You're 26?
I'm 21.
You're 21. Jeez, you're
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
I'm 21. It's crazy. Every training class that I ever have trained are always shocked in that part because I do look like I'm 30.
Man.
But yeah.
I think it's the way you carry yourself.
I like to think so.
I think you have a mature presence
I
sometimes until we go out to Mexico or we're hanging out outside of work. Then I remember that. Oh,
you're like, oh, okay.
I can't keep up with this.
He's talking crap again.
Yeah, he's talking shit. Shots again.
Oh, another round.
Surprise.
His hangovers don't last 2 days.
No, mine lasts more than 2 days.
They're more than 2 days now.
3 to 5 business days.
Ooh,
it depends
business
on
days.
Yeah, 3 to 5 business days. Depends how what we're having. So. It'll catch up to you one day when 30 comes 9 years from now. I want you to remember this: when you get up after your 30th birthday, because you're gonna go out and party your tail off on your 30th birthday. I already know that's gonna happen. It's your 30th. It's the 30-30. You're telling me you're not gonna party on your dirty 30?
I feel like you got to give it up.
The next morning you'll wake up and that first few bones will crack and you're like, ooh, okay, we're gonna have a tough time. This is 30.
The issue is I feel it now. I'm scared. I'm scared of what it's going to be like. I'm a tall guy. I feel like it just
revs up a bit
health
faster.
Revs up faster.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Those knees, man. Those knees.
Struggling.
So, obviously with the marketing, you got a lot of people you're excited for. With the new reps that are coming in, the new candidates we're bringing in, right? What do you think of one piece of advice that you could give those individuals that could allow them to kind of prosper forward, right, and push on through like even the hardest times of marketing from someone who's been doing it for as long as you have?
Yeah, I mean, the best advice that I could give somebody that's in marketing is always keeping a goal in mind. Look, on a day-to-day basis, you are doing something that is to the outside eyes something that's very difficult, but in reality, you're creating relationships with random people that end up adding to them getting free information to better their home, right? And what you've got to keep in mind is whatever goal in which you have in mind, because it gets repetitive over time. Like it's easy for it to get repetitive. You park your van, in a neighborhood, and you knock doors all day, right? Yeah. Like it's going to get repetitive. What you've got to do is consistently remind yourself, like, look, I've got sales class right around the corner, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in that damn sales class. Reminding myself that no matter what, there's money behind each and every door, right? Knowing the money in which I can make, and knowing that there's a lot of money in marketing, because I made a bunch of it, and a bunch of other very successful marketers did the same.
You've accomplished so much in your short time, right? You're talking about 2 years. And I don't think it's been a full 2 years. Is it full 2 years? Not even yet.
9 months.
Yeah, so you're not even full 2 years yet, right? And marketing, mentor, team lead, then mentor, senior mentor, assistant director, right? So much in a short period of time, right? Which should show other individuals that you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish as long as you're putting the effort in. And that's not just from a performance standpoint, because Lord knows you put a lot of work in and you've been performing at a very high level. But it also goes into your attitude, the way you carry yourself day to day, right? Coming in with a smiling face, being positive, even when times are tough, right? But what's next for Conor? What is your goal? What do you hope to maybe achieve this year? And what's the long-term goal?
Yeah, I mean, personally, that next step for me is obviously director. I want to fully oversee the department. Obviously, I oversee it now, but fully, oversee it. Kind of give Shane a little bit more room to be able to focus solely on recruiting. That's kind of the goal, is at some point being able to push him out a little bit, so he doesn't have to feel as hands-on as he is. Try to ease his workload, and making sure that before it gets to that point that I am fully ready for it. There are plenty of things that I do still look to Shane for, and that's just what comes with time and overall learning from a management standpoint. But I'd say overall that my goal for at least this year, or as my biggest goal upcoming, would be just picking up that director spot.
Yeah.
Long term, I think everyone knows, I've made it abundantly clear, like, I'm going to do absolutely anything I can to become vice president of this company one day, in whatever department which I do it in. Haven't made that abundantly clear. Haven't figured that out myself. But I think everybody knows. I made it pretty damn clear. That was going.
Well, fortunately for you, right? You got to look at the the timeline too, and we got Virginia that opened up last year. Third location, obviously the Whispers.
Yeah.
Right. Baltimore, Columbia area, right? That could be a possibility. Right?
That's the goal. That's why I'm really hoping to be able to get director at some point this year. Being able to have that under my belt, be able to help out Shane for as long as I can, and hopefully be able to coach up whoever's behind me. Make sure that they are in as good a shape possible, so that once I do finally leave marketing, which I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do one day, it's gonna hurt emotionally. But
I think it's gonna hurt Shane more than it's gonna hurt you.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it'll probably hurt me more. And yeah, figuring out next steps from there.
Okay. Is there anybody, was there anybody in the company that you would say maybe you would consider like your role model, or what's one person that you would probably give a shout out to that really helped you get to where you are now?
Good Lord. When it comes to who's helped me get to where I am, there's so many. There's, Jeremy Waleed, who literally trained me from the moment in which I got here. And anytime in which I needed advice or anything, would go straight to them. Then there is, James, who literally kept me around. There was a time period where I thought I was going to go back to school.
Yeah.
And James, Chris, people got on me and were like, dude, no, let me give you a layout of what your career is going to be like here.
Yeah.
And that changed my life. I would have gone back to school, been in debt, and probably came back to working a sales job anyways.
Yeah.
So that changed my life. And owe a lot of that to Chris. And going out of his way to sit down and bring me in for a one-on-one, being like, dude, this is what you're gonna do. Let me show you how to get things done. And then the person who I will say is the person which I give the most credit to is the person who laid out my path for me and made sure I was going to get it done, and that's Shane. I mean, Shane literally, from the second he became the director in training in Maryland, took me under his wing. He was like, dude, you are going to be my partner in crime. You are going to be my right-hand man once we open this Virginia office. And then from that point on, that is when everything switched for me. That's when I became, now it's time for me to become Mr. Prezi. Right? Now it's time for me to fully sit in and do all the things in which I need to do to make sure that I'm the best leader possible. I would also like to put in the guy sitting across from me right now.
Who? Me?
Yeah, I would like to put you in there.
Dude, stop. I'm blushing.
No. In all sincerity, like, you were always someone that I felt like from the get-go of me being here. It's not often you get to a job and can immediately start, talking shit. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here. Talking shit with your boss, or someone who is in as high of a position as you are, and being able to have that friendship that we had when I got here, and obviously it's grown a lot more since, and we play fantasy football and all these other things now, and golf and whatever. It sticks to making sure that you're happy where you are. And also, I was an asshole, in marketing, and I called you religiously and was like, this is what happened, and being able to have you calm me down on a regular basis. Definitely.
So it's like, obviously, Shane, once again, right? Who's like, you're the guy, right? But obviously what you just said, those kind words, not me blushing, right? But it's like safe to say that, I could be that real person that was like there for you, not Shane, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to be on the show again?
Yeah. So Lucas is the exact person.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, Shane is probably one of those individuals I think that honestly really outreaches to a lot of the employees here. And in his credit, it pains me to say this to it because I love messing with Shane, right?
Oh, don't we all?
But he's probably the heartbeat of this company. He gets the engine going. He's that young energy that everybody loves to see, right? And he wants to pass it on to other individuals. You being one of those individuals, who's going to allow this company to continue to grow in the direction that we've been growing it in for the last 9 years.
Shane and I, we both started off as 19-year-old shitheads here. Like, we both started off at 19. And, we grew into leadership positions really quick. He did marketing for 9 months, grew into not an assistant director role, but it was the assistant director role at the time. And, grew as fast as he did at a young age. And that's something in which I always held back on, because obviously when you are as young as I am, you're going to get backlash. You're going to be, people are going to be like, this is the young guy, yada, yada. Why is it that he has this? And, being able to bank back off of Shane was like, dude, you know why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And Shane's like, I got shit for being the young guy too. He was like, I'm just glad now you're getting the shit, not me anymore. So, definitely very grateful for Shane. And, saying that he's the heartbeat, I'd say him, Ben Warren, Mike, you guys are
Stop.
all...
You don't gotta keep saying my name.
No, I'm dead serious.
Cool.
Like, you guys, the way in which you guys care about people and, reach out to people and get them... Like, dude, I was going through some stuff, and Ben, consistently reached out, called me each and every day just to make sure how it was from a personal level. That's just... It's great for the company in which we have here.
As I tell a lot of people when I talk to them, like when it comes to the hiring process, I'm very biased, but I don't think there's a lot of companies out there that provide that, relationship, that personal relationship level, like we do.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's a big part of this because everybody here is so close with one another, not just from an age standpoint, but, it goes beyond work at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're partying together, we're hanging out together, it's I don't want to say that cliche line like we're a family, but it is that brotherhood, it's that sisterhood, it's that we're a team at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Is because I hate when companies go in, they're like, oh, we're a family. It's so cliche. Yeah. Every company says it. And at the end of the day, family, they fight, right? Yeah. Brothers, sisters, they fight
all the time.
That's not what you should look for in a company. Mm-hmm. What you should look for in a company is something in which we have here. It's looking for a sports team, right? We're a very good sports team where each individual is lifting each other up to be able to get to whatever goal it is in which they have, and helping each individual get to their own individual goals as we all get to our goal. Yeah. So
2025.
Yeah.
What department wins?
I feel bad for Maryland. We're going to have to take it both years. Again, I know whatever happened in October, we got it. It's a fluke. We won the first 9 months of the year. We're going to win all 12 months this year.
It takes a whole year to win.
It does take a whole year to win. And now with us having around the same amount of people, it's going to be difficult for Rockville to win. Yeah. It's going to be hard. If we have the same amount of people, it's going to be difficult.
Okay. All right. Well, Conor, I appreciate you joining me here today. It was an exciting episode. Probably one of my favorites. Probably the most favorite. I think we had a good time today. Probably my second favorite is probably Dell.
Yeah,
for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Dell and I had a good
time. That was my favorite one to watch so far.
Yeah, so. I think so. Yeah, mine too. I appreciate your time once again. For those of you watching at home, thank you for joining us here today on the third episode of the Prezi Podcast. Can't wait for you guys to tune into the fourth episode. Be on the lookout for that and who our next guest will be. Come to you in February. Catch you guys on the next one. Can I get a Prezi?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.